Yes. 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 Hello, hello. Hello, testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Data output 217 megabytes per second. Okay. All right. Okay, let's pump it up a bit. How is the quality? How is the quality? How is the quality? How is the picture quality? How is the picture quality? But you are only occupying the small box. Yes. So this, I want to put it at the corner here so that you're able to see the presentation over here. Ifrustan. Okay. Why am I failing to add more since video capture? Okay. Which one is this one? Which one is this one? Video capture device. Yes. Okay. So this thing works.
Got to get on and make that reform, because the options are leave the system as it is, trapping people and not helping them. That's not a Labour option. The Labour option is to reform it and make it fit for the future.
You don't
so we're going to press ahead with these reforms.
Just to be clear, you don't see it as a confidence vote in your leadership, and you are not going to offer concessions. You're pressing. on?
We're pressing on with a vote on this because we need to bring about this reform. We were elected into government to change that which is broken. Our welfare system is broken. The progressive thing to do is to fix it so it works for working people.
Prime Minister, in your final question, in your national security strategy, it says for the first time in many years, we have to actively prepare for the possibility of the UK homeland coming under direct attack, potentially in a wartime scenario. That sounds very frightening. Are we under threat of attack?
Well, we are facing daily challenges on the home front. So whether that's cyber attacks, which are very, very frequent and very, very serious, whether that is a focus on energy security. We've seen from the Ukraine war that energy is weaponized by our adversaries. And of course, you've seen state actions by Iran and Russia in the United Kingdom. We have to guard properly against those threats, and we will do so.
Keir Starmer talking to Beth Rigby a short time ago. Well, let's return to the situation in the Middle East. US President Donald Trump has this morning expressed his fury with both Israel and Iran, accusing them of violating a ceasefire he helped broker, which began just a few hours ago. I'm joined now by former Middle East advisor at the US Department of Justice, Jasmine El-Gamal. Jasmine, good to talk to you today. What did you make of Donald Trump's comments this morning, really showing his anger at both sides?
Thank you so much for having me, Jane. I just want to clarify it was the Department of Defense, not the Department of Justice.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's fine. You know, it was clearly an emotional and frustrated statement that the president made, and you can tell he's tired, he's exhausted. This has been on his mind for 12 days now, and he thought that he had finally managed to get a ceasefire. And then that happened. You know, at the end of the day, I think sometimes people forget that world leaders are also just human beings, and they get tired and cranky and emotional too. But that said, you know, I don't think we should read too much into it. I've seen people on social media saying that this is somehow affecting U.S.-Israel relations, that this means something bigger than it really is. But I think it really was just a moment of frustration.
Is the Middle East safer now, do you think, than it was 12 days ago?
I think that there are two ways to look at this. I mean, the fact is, the short answer is we don't know. And we won't know until we see what happens next. And when I say next, I don't just mean the next hours or the next days. I mean the next few months and even years. The reason I say that is because we won't see the effects and the impact of a lot of what's happened in the Middle East over the couple of years immediately. Now, there are people who are analyzing this situation and saying that this whole ordeal has in fact made the region safer, that Israel has proven its military dominance in the region. President Trump showed that he's in charge, and that should quiet everyone down. There's another school of thought, which I tend to subscribe to, which is a bit more worried and a bit more concerned about this idea, this notion now that's rampant in the Middle East, and I think worldwide, that might is right. And that means that people have to, instead of seeking negotiations, instead of seeking to make concessions, that they have to protect themselves with power, whether that's huge economic power, like the Gulf states, for example, or military power, that is the only way to protect themselves. I think what this showed is that even when you're in the process of negotiations, like Iran was with the US, that still doesn't stop you from being attacked. And I tend to think that that's a negative thing, and that worries me for the future.
Do you think Trump's strategy in the Middle East is coherent?
I think largely, I have said this from the beginning, and I continue to believe that he ultimately wants to withdraw the U.S. from any conflict in the region and wants to help the region move forward on a more peaceful path. I do believe that largely. I disagree with the way that he's going about it, and I disagree with the peace through strength strategy. But I think that what he is trying to do is get to a place where there is no need for armed conflict in the region. I just don't know if he's going about it the right way.
And in terms of the next stage between Israel and Iran, brokering of the ceasefire is one step, but maintaining the ceasefire and getting the back channels working again is going to be a bigger challenge, isn't it?
Of course. I mean, we only have to look at what's happening with other ceasefires that have been signed in the region over the last year and a half. You have the ceasefire that was signed between the ceasefire deal between Hamas and Israel that broke down very quickly twice. And then you have the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon, which there have been violations on both sides, but more so and more recently violations by Israel in terms of remaining in southern Lebanon after it was supposed to have withdrawn completely. It still remains in 5 locations, and it still continues to strike what they call Hezbollah targets when the Lebanese armed forces are supposed to be in charge of looking after that issue now. So if you talk to people in the region now, ceasefire is really becoming a joke, if not just a dirty word, but at least a joke, because they don't see any ceasefires that have been negotiated that parties, in their mind, particularly Israel, has stuck to.
And Trump, of course, on his way to NATO, though, now. Do you think his aims for the Middle East are the same aims as most European leaders? Do you think they're all singing from the same hymn sheet when it comes to, things like arms sales and energy and trade?
I believe so. I mean, it's really hard to, when you look at European countries and the responses to crises in the Middle East, whether it's what's happening in Gaza, to Lebanon, to Iran, the Europeans don't really seem to really have much of an influence over what's happening. And I don't see countries in the region really focusing on Europe as much as they're focusing on making sure that they're on Trump's good side, that they're in lockstep with Donald Trump about the future of the region. That's what they're really focusing on now, not so much Europe.
Okay, Jasmine El Gamal, political analyst. Good to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
You're watching Sky News Today. Coming up, Donald Trump's fury with Israel and Iran, accusing both sides of breaking the ceasefire. We'll bring you his remarks in full. Let's return to our top story now as US President Donald Trump expresses his frustration with both Israel and Iran, accusing them of violating a ceasefire he helped broker. Following a conversation with President Trump in the past hour, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said his country had refrained from further attacks. But earlier, Donald Trump made it clear that he wasn't happy with either side in the conflict before he set off for a NATO summit in The Hague. Let's listen to that in full now.
I'm not happy that Israel's going out now. There was one rocket that I guess was fired overboard. It was after the time limit, and it missed its target. And now Israel's going out. These guys got to calm down. It's ridiculous. I didn't like plenty of things I saw yesterday. I didn't like the fact that Israel unloaded right after we made the deal. They didn't have to unload. And I didn't like the fact that the retaliation was very strong. But in all fairness, Israel unloaded a lot. And now I hear Israel just went out because they felt it was violated by one rocket that didn't land anywhere. That's not what we want, I'll tell you. And I'm telling you, I'm not happy about that, Israel, either. All I do is play both sides. I'm going now, as you know, to NATO. Some of you are going with me, and I think it's going to be successful. We'll see. I'll let you know.
Are you going to achieve the agreement? It's a new dawn in the Middle East. Thanks to the agreement you managed to achieve. What are your future plans for the region, for Saudi Arabia, Israel, Gaza, the hostages?
Look, you're asking me about women in the Middle East. It's getting a lot better. Things are happening at a high level. As you know, Saudi Arabia's done a really good job. It's coming out far faster than I thought. So we're very happy about what's happening with women in the Middle East.
No, I'm talking about a new dawn in the Middle East that you managed to achieve last night.
Yeah.
The region is going to a new place with this agreement. Can you tell us what's your future plans for Gaza, for the hostages?
Yeah. It's a new dawn. I appreciate the question. You're very nice. Who are you?
Thank you. I'm Neria Kraus from Israeli Channel 13 News.
Well, we have to have Israel calm down because they went on a mission this morning. I got to get Israel to calm down now.
Did you get to speak with the Prime Minister? Did you talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu last night?
I speak to everybody.
You
urge both sides not to violate the ceasefire, but reports coming from the region suggest that the sides accuse each other for violating the ceasefire. So
I think they both violated it. I don't think I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it. So as soon as I get away from you, I'm going to see if I can stop it, okay? I think it's been completely demolished. I think the reason we're here is because those pilots, those B-2 pilots, did an unbelievable job. And, you know, the fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots; they're after me. They want to try and demean. Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there, absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine. They hit late in the evening. It was dark with no moon, and they hit that target with every one of those things, and that place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks, and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSDNC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers. You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people. And the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed. MSDNC, a guy named Brian Roberts, he heads it. He's a disgrace. He's a weak, pathetic disgrace.
Israel says that Iran violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what they're doing. Do you understand that?
Not mincing his words, is he? Right, let's get a look at the weather.
A bright start and always a warm welcome. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
Well, it's looking unsettled into next week, but the southeast will stay relatively dry. Warm and humid there today, nearer average elsewhere, with a brisk wind easing slowly. Central and southern England will see long sunny spells developing later this afternoon, although the dull, damp southwest will take a while to brighten. Wales looks mostly rather grey and drizzly throughout. Elsewhere, most places will see at least some sunny breaks developing as patchy early rain and drizzle turns more showery. Eastern parts look most favoured for sunshine. Mainly dry tonight, but it'll be quite cloudy with extensive low cloud over Wales, the southwest of England and the West Midlands, bringing patchy drizzle and fog on the hills. We can expect the odd shower further north too, and it'll be warm in the south. Tomorrow morning looks mostly dry with sunny spells developing, but there'll be a few showers, while Wales and central England look rather dull and locally damp into the afternoon. Ireland, Northern Ireland and the southwest of England will have showers.
A bright start and always a warm welcome. Qatar Airways sponsors the weather.
You're watching Sky News today. Coming up, in an exclusive sit-down interview with Sky News, Ukraine's president says sanctions on the Kremlin aren't working.